Welcome to the Model Rail Replacement Podcast, helping you get to your onward journey. A friendly service that helps you get from A to B, or probably nowhere at all.
Hello and welcome to the Model Rail Replacement Podcast, or as we like to call it, MERP. I'm your host, James. I'm feeling better this week, and with me is co-host and producer.
Sam, good morning, everyone.
Hello, Sam. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better. How was your recovery from last week's episode?
It was just mostly fatigue, so I don't know. I don't know what it was. There's four things going around at the moment. It wasn't neurovirus. It could have been that one. So that one was ruled out. But yeah, I was very, very fatigued and very, very tired. So yes, it's a bit coffee and a bit coldy, but not like drastic. But very, very tired. But yes, fortunately, I had me rest week, so I've had that to recover as well. So yes, I'm feeling a lot better. So yes, all is right in the world, I suppose.
Good.
Yes, and yourself, all good?
Yeah, I'm all good. So real life job got in the way this weekend because of the storms on the south. I was out trying to help clear lines, stop people doing stupid things, and basically just trying to stop people from hurting themselves. So those of you who weren't in the UK or didn't know, there were some pretty horrible storms, and us on the south coast, if you were anywhere near a tree, was pretty bad. So I was basically dealing with that. So I had a full weekend of being super busy with work.
Yeah, Storm Darragh, whatever the hell it was. I know, just call it David. It's a lot easier. I don't want to give him fancy names. We know how it works in the alphabet system. Just going with names we can pronounce. But there we are. Yeah, it was. I think the South Coast, West Country, and Wales all got a bit of a battering. So it wasn't. It wasn't. It was still quite blustery around here in the Midlands, but not as probably not as rough as what you had it more on the coast. But you get to live near the seaside in the summer, so swings and roundabouts, eh?
That's very, very true. We don't get snow, but we also get much better sun than most people.
Exactly. So there you go. Yeah. I live equidistance from any beach in any direction. It's a fact.
I don't know if that's a happy
By
thing
just
or a
saying that,
sad
I
thing.
can work out where I live now. Just get a ruler and measure each beach. And but yes, yes, I couldn't get it further from a beach if I tried, quite literally. Anyway, we're completely gone off topic there. Let's talk model railways. What have you been up to?
So this week, I have. I'm trying to remember where we left off. So I talked about building a frame round the double O gauge layout, and I've done that, and I've installed some new lights up the top now. Bizarrely, unlike me, I haven't really shared anything of it because I've just been cracking on with it. Um, but now it's fully encased on the bridge section, and there's now some new LED lights in the top. Not as fancy as Underground Eric's ones, but ones that at least light it up and illuminate it, and it's quite nice. I took a couple of pictures of it earlier today, and it does look quite nice. And then I've also tidied up some of the plaster bandage and sculptor mold bits that I'd started working on last week as well. And then just been terraforming. Is that the right term? I've been basically cutting up pieces of foam to start building the mountains and the cliffs for the little 009 layout. And then I've also been working on something a little special that I'm not really ready to talk about just yet, but I've been working on some stuff and some things. How about you?
We are then. Are you doing a secret Thomas project for the Railway Series 80th anniversary next year? Is that what it is?
I mean, do you know what the thought had crossed my mind? I feel really left out when I don't do these things. I've been trying to sell a Bachmann hardwired pannier tank for the last couple of weeks. Actually, the last couple of months, I think, and it's just not sold. And the thought did cross my mind whilst I was out in the middle of nowhere trying to cast spells on trees. And I was like, maybe I should just repaint it into Sodor green. Keep the face that's on it and have sort of the real life engine, and maybe do something special with maybe some of Tom from Buggles Kelly's stuff. But that that's not the project I'm talking about. James is playing coy. He sort of knows the project I'm talking about, but it's mainly because I've got about 15 different projects on the go that I'm being coy about this one because if it fails, then no one will know.
Yeah, very sly, very sly. I'm still gonna tell everyone what it was if it fails. Just out you. Oh,
That's fine. You can do that. It was your track plan that made it fail if does fail.
oh, I see. Oh, it's not what I was thinking of something else then. Oh, okay.
Oh, you're
Oh
gonna have to
no,
tell
I
me what.
know, I know what you mean. Yeah, no, that track plan. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yes, I do know what he's working on. Right.
What about
Sorry,
you? What have you been up to?
it's not a Thomas diorama. I know that. Me, what have I done? Oh, the N-gauge layout has finally left the garage. It's gone up to its proper home in the boys' bedroom. That was this morning, actually, as soon as that. So finished wiring up the fiddle yard. We put the hill on it, the tunnel mouth, all the retaining walls on the back, all the buildings have been placed on it. Went round with a coat of paint and painted what will be essentially roads and car parks and bits like that, and then anything else that's going to have scenic scatter, etc. put on it. That's been painted brown. So it's now got a nice base coat of colour. And I was like, that's good enough now. It works, it runs. We just need to add the scenic materials to it, which can be done up in his bedroom. It doesn't need to be in here anymore. So yes, the Engage project has made its way up there, which means I've got to clear out the garage now. It's an absolute tip. It seems to have acquired more stuff that I don't know where it's come from. But once that's done, I can then start my next project, which will probably be my 009.
I'm very excited to hear that. Um,
So,
as I've been deep into the 009 in the last couple of weeks, it's I'm keen. I was saying to you before we started recording how weirdly, although I know there's some other 009 stuff out there, whenever you search 009, you get occasional like 1 minute videos of people running a 009 layout, but the only three constants that are on there is your 009 build, Joseph's 009 build, and George Williamson's 009 builds. Like they're the only three constants that you can rely on.
I say that the only three you'll ever need.
I mean, yes, but I do want more new content. I mean, George is posting new content after the destruction via Kitten, but yeah, you haven't posted any in a while. You did your Peter Sam one, and now I need more 009. And I know that Joseph's not going to be working on 009 for a while because he's got other things in the pipeline. Sorry, Joseph. But unless you're going to start posting more, I need content. I'm
Yeah.
running out.
You could do your own.
Oh, imagine if I was doing my own 009 series in the background and just waiting on the recommendation of a friend to not release it until I've done a few episodes.
The moment I said that, I remembered the advice I gave you.
Well, that project's out. So, James, I said about how sometimes I find it really difficult to you sort of lose momentum with posting things, and the 009 is meant to be sort of a side project. And I said I really want to post like a series on it, and James said, "Well, why don't you hold the videos back, make 5 videos worth, and then start releasing it every week, and it forces you to do more." And I was like, "That's a really good idea." So, so I am in the process of making some 009 videos to go with the layout, but I need to make some more progress before I can make some more videos. But but yeah, there you go. There's some little tidbits for you. That's not the one that James and I were talking about though.
I think people could probably work that one out anyway. Just they're probably more curious as to why there wasn't videos, but you keep talking about this 009 project. So
Yeah, I think whilst I was recording the first couple of videos, I do say you've probably heard a lot about this already on the podcast if you listen. So it'd be interesting to see who's like, I know about this already.
yeah, yeah. Who's listening and who's paying attention?
Oh,
So
I tell you what though, very quickly, since we did record last, the one thing that has turned up is my first bit of 009 rolling stock, and it's the little V-skip, the Pico V-skip wagons.
oh yeah, yeah.
They're so cool. They're so light. So both out of the two locos I've got, the diesel is the heavier one, but it's the worst at going up the hill, whereas the Quarry Hunslet goes up the hill no problem. Um, and my main worry was that because of the incline, they wouldn't be able to pull anything up the hills.
Hmm.
And I tell you what, that Quarry Hunslet, it doesn't even miss a beat when it starts going up the hill with three of those little wagons behind it, and it just looks so cool.
Yeah, they are great little models, Bachmann. So make some more in generic colours. We don't care. We'll just repaint them anyway.
Yeah,
Just dropping a hint there. Just dropping a hint. Yeah, but yeah, they are great little models, aren't they? So that's cool. So you got your V skips. So yeah, it's,
yeah,
sounds like it's a project that's coming along and something to people to look out for on the old YouTube in the future.
yeah. I think I've said it before. The biggest thing that's holding me up at the moment is drying times on the main layout, and that has definitely felt very evident where I've been going back to little bits and bobs recently. And the 009 is meant to be a sort of a palate cleanser to it, but I have really enjoyed doing it. It is just a case of the next big step for me is getting all of the foam to make the shapes that I need to make. And then once I've done that, glue them all down, and then I can really start going to town on the scenery on it as well.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I thought another YouTube channel. It's a mix of 009 and OO Gauge. I think it's called King's Clear,
King's Clear. The name rings a bell.
something like that. Yeah, it popped up on my YouTube the other day. He was building a little 009 that they could come out with some wagons and then take it to a exchange siding. And I mean, there were V skips. They sort of meant to be tipping the stone into the wagons. So that's another one out there. It's slowly progressing along. But,
Hmm.
talking of 009, it's in our news, but we'll go to that in a minute, I suppose. First of all, what is this week's episode about, Sam? What are we doing?
So, this week's episode, we are going to be sat down with none other than SouthWest Max. SouthWest Max is probably best known for repainting the Bachmann Class 450s and 350s into the Southwestern Railway liveries. And I've said it before, I think Max is a completely untapped talent when it comes to repainting. He does better work on the curved lines for the livery that he's doing than I could ever do. And I think we said when we gave him a shout out, he's under 1,000 followers on Instagram, and I think it's a complete crime. So we're going to sit down and talk with him later today.
Yeah, yeah, that's a little bit later, but yeah, as I say, it's news time. Not much news as it gets closer to Christmas. We weren't really expecting a lot. Maybe a few more things will pop up in January. Well, Hornby usually mounts things in January anyway, so probably that going on. But first bit of news then, Scale are increasing their ever-growing range of Class 37s with their 37 stroke 9s, which are I think it's pronounced a mirrorless engine technology. So if you look at the roof of these, they're completely different to the standard Class 37. I believe it was part of what was eventually a failed project of creating a Class 38, which I think was sort of like sort of strong as a 56, but sort of lightweightness of the 37, something like that. I'm not entirely certain, but there are three new models being offered by Scale. Two of them in BR liveries, which I think is I'll have to dig out the photos to remember what they are. So yeah, there's a range of three liveries being offered, including the large logo rail freight grey with 37903. I'm going to embarrass myself and say the wrong one if I try and guess the symbol of the rail freight section. Oh no, I would have been right. It's metals. So rail freight metals is the other one. This is 37902. And then Scale will be offering their own exclusive in the very attractive and lovely Euro Phoenix livery, which will be, give me a second, I can tell you which one it is. 37901 Mirrorless Pioneer. So yeah, those are on offer from Scale from either directly themselves or retailers, such as Rares of Sheffield, and I'm sure there's others out there. I know. I don't want to realise.
Various, various.
Realise. Starting lifting. Yeah, various. I just try your local retailer. Try them, but say or Scale themselves, as they do have the very worthwhile point system, and you'll be surprised how quickly those points build up when you start collecting Scale products. So yeah, They look very nice. Definitely, it's a bit different. It's nice to see that sort of change of tooling as well. I suppose the roofs do look um, a bit more. They look a bit more square to the sort of the other 37s. It's sort of a bit more angular, I suppose. But
See,
yeah,
I'm looking at them and I think they look a lot more streamlined. Or am I looking at the wrong ones? Now really worried that I'm looking at the wrong ones.
they
Uh,
definitely got a different roof profile. It's
oh,
definitely more of an
sorry.
angular.
Yeah, if you look at it from the top, the midsection of it definitely has like an angular look to it rather than the sort of the curved. So it's almost like the two ends are still curved, but the section in the middle between the exhaust and the fan, that's the bit that's very angular. Yeah, I get what you mean
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Um, which one would you go for if you were picking one?
If I pick livery, I mean the Euro Phoenix it would suit what I'm modelling at the moment, but quite like sectorization. But the large logo Rail Freight Grey has always been a very attractive livery, I find. And
Yeah,
definitely a nice one for weathering. So um, that one out of the three, just out of choice, but to suit modelling period, Euro Phoenix.
yeah, I agree. I think the Euro Phoenix one is definitely because it's around now. It's available. You can see it in real life, kind of thing. I think it has that appeal. Um,
Yeah.
but the other two, both fantastic choices as well. What else have we got in the news, James?
We'll escape that and we'll talk about 009 because yeah, I did mention it earlier. We did have a bit of 009 news. This is 4Ds, which did get a mention in our Christmas Fight Club shopping battle episode. Sam picked them for the kits as part of his 009 Christmas present wish list. So quite nice to see that 4Ds have just produced a 3D conversion kit for the Scar Lowy stroke Talaclin 009 locomotives. So I think the 009 Talaclins are imminent, very, very imminent, if not already landed. And these are a new footplate that's been 3D printed with some extra parts, including smoke box door, cylinders, and some cab detail. There's a very nice instruction booklet with it, and I know all this because I've managed to get hold of one, nice and early, so it's right in front of me and I can talk about it. But yeah, this looks like a very great and welcome kit. I know Narrow Planet did something very similar. And this one comes with the option of being with the air brake on without air brake, and about £23, I think it was. So I think it's pretty fair price for what you get for the product that's been sold, and with the instructions and everything. Yeah, definitely something for any Talaclin modeler that wants to make their Fletcher Jennings logo just that little bit more realistic looking. So a welcome product to the market there from 4Ds, and you can find them on their eBay store if you're after that. Just look for 4Ds on eBay, and they have many products there. So there we go. I think that covers news. Otherwise, nothing else I'm aware of, or that people have made us aware of. So I think we'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk to SouthWest Matt.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Hello there, little boy. What would you like for Christmas?
Well, I was wondering if I could have me models weathered.
Oh, ho, ho! The elves don't do weathering, I'm afraid.
Well, couldn't you get Emperor's Path to do it?
Emperor's Path? Oh, well, what is that?
He's his weathering service, and he'll make your models as dirty as you like. He can go over with the airbrush, or he can do the oils. It's wonderful.
Ho, ho! Well, that does sound wonderful, but how would I get hold of him?
You can contact him through his Instagram at Emperor's Path, or you can do Emperor's Path contact at gmail.com.
Ho, ho! Well, you have been a good little boy to tell me such things. Maybe you will get your locomotives weathered this Christmas.
Emperor's Path Weathering. If it's not dirty, let's fix that.
Do you do sleighs?
Well, here we are then. It's our very last interview of season 2 and the one of the year, I suppose. We have today's guest, SouthWest Max. So, hello, Max. How are you?
Hello, guys. Yes, very good. I've just come back from the dentist, actually, so my teeth are really clean. Yes, but no, very good. Very good. You're right. How's it going? Not freezing?
Yeah. No, well, we're. I think we've survived the storms that have come battering our way. And, more of a sound problem than me problem, I think, probably. I'm fortunate not to be at work. I'm sure if I was at work, it would have been a bit more of an issue. But we're doing well. So welcome to the show.
Thanks very much.
You are. I was asking Sam beforehand because I was like just do a quick bit of research. You're not a YouTuber, are you? Just an Instagram man. Is that right?
Yeah, at the moment, at least. Yeah, just Instagram. I've always toyed with the idea of YouTube, but I've never really found the time for it. So I've got a few other hobbies, not just the row. The row is a big one, but I've got plenty of eggs in other baskets. So I've just, up until this point, I've not found time to edit YouTube videos. So never say never. But yeah, for the moment, just Instagram.
That's fair enough. So for everyone listening, you just wanted to tell us a little bit about yourself, your modelling, what you do, etc.
So I'm Max. Instagram is SouthWest Max. Although if you haven't worked that out by now, I'll be worried. So I'm the 450 guy, the New Forest guy, the Lymington guy. I've been called a few different things, but I'm down in the New Forest, and my hobby revolves around model railways, sort of based in the New Forest. Having said that, I would like to do a sort of city, urban sort of style layout at some point. But yeah, for now, all of my stuff is sort of out in the country. So I've also got layout Exbury End, which you'd have seen on the Instagram profile quite a bit. I repaint the 450s, 444s, all of that sort of thing. Do a bit of weathering here and there. And that's pretty much me.
Yeah, very good, very good. So we'll start with our first question that we always like to start with, which is, and I'm sure I know the answer here, are you a steam, electric, or diesel person? And I'm sure it's steam, right?
Yes, well, funnily enough, you should say that. I'm looking at a box on the desk next to me which contains a steam engine, I think. Although it's not one you'd think. It's actually 009 gauge, but I'll come on to that later. But yeah, no surprises. Obviously, for me, it's electric. Electric. I've grown up with electric stuff. All of my stuff's got shoes on it. It's, electric. It's got to be electric. Not that I don't enjoy steam and diesel. Because, diesel has its moments. You see it thrashing up and it vibrating on the floor, and it's good fun. As I'm quite partial to narrow gauge steam, but yeah, electric has to pip it all around.
Electric. Is that just, you reckon, from a nurture point of view, that it's an environment you've just grown up with, and that's why you like it, or is there an appeal about electric that just makes you want to model it?
So probably a bit of both. Yeah, I mean, a big part of it's probably growing up. Obviously, down the New Forest, when I was younger, we would sit at the weekend, go for a ride up and down the Lymington branch in the old the slam door emus, the 3.6 that were there, and it was always electric. So I grew up with the sounds and smells of electric trains. Well, I say not so much smells, just the smells of old slam doors, but the sounds of electric trains. And then we did have, obviously, once the SIGs were out of use in 2010, they brought a 158 down there on the weekends, but I never quite liked it as much as I did the electric stuff, because I was younger and found it a bit noisy. Couldn't quite enjoy it as much. I just sort of fell into the electric basket. I quite find it interesting. You get the sparks and that on the third rail, the arcing. I've never, I say a lot of people would be surprised, but we never did many sort of days out to heritage railways with diesel galas or steam galas. So most of my exposure to the railways as I was growing up was always on the main line, and it was always electrics. So I fell into the electrics. Yeah,
that makes sense. Really, it's definitely an understandable reason of why you prefer the electric train. So we'll move on and ask you, what is your favourite scale?
My favourite scale. We'll have to go. I'll just drop my notes on the floor. My favourite scale is 00. Not to be boring, but I find it to be the right balance. I think O gauge is fantastic, but it's just too big. There's only really room for it in the garden. I mean, the house I'm living in is not great. I can only just about fit in Exbury End. But yeah, I think double O, it's still big enough that you can go to town on the detail and the little things like the little jellyfish and that put on the units in between the coaches and the dirt, and carriage numbers and this and that, the warning labels on the underframes, and layout detail as well. You can probably go to town on it still in the double O. But I find if you're going much smaller, I've never tried TT, but I find N gauge you're just getting a little bit too small to be able to properly go to town on the detail, and obviously start to lose a bit of realism as well with the running gear and the wheel sets. Having said that, there are obviously plenty of people on Instagram who are doing some pretty remarkable work in N gauge. But yeah, I think for me, double O is the right size. It's got everything I need in it. It's not too big. It's not too small. So yeah, it's got to be the 1:76.
It's just right for the eyesight, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it is. I suspect that might get a bit worried as I get older, but certainly for now, it's all fine.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as you say, O gauges are definitely a lovely scale, but definitely an older scale, probably because of eyesight.
Yeah, if I had more space, it wouldn't be so bad. But then there's no units really in O gauge, so you'd have to start from scratch on all of them, and take too much time.
Yeah, it's a very small. I mean, Hellion obviously covered diesels quite well, but otherwise it's quite a small, ready to run market, isn't it? So it is a lot of patch building and kit building, and I suppose if it's available in OO, it's a lot more achievable to get what you want in a model.
Indeed.
I imagine as well, if you were looking for units in O gauge, you'd be looking at something in the region of 7 foot, and that's not even space to run it. So you'd need 14 foot to be able to at least get it off the track it started on.
Yeah, which quickly becomes a bit unachievable in most houses. So especially stuff like 444s. I mean, they're not short. Just one unit's 5 coaches, and the 23-meter coaches that would stretch well. Pretty much the entire length of Exbury End and the run into it.
Yeah, that does sound like a problem.
I certainly haven't got the space here, or even in our garden. We've only got a small garden, so I couldn't even fit it in there. But yeah, cool scale nonetheless.
It reminds me, there was a company a while back. I can't remember which shop was going to do it. They were going to do a HST, weren't they, in O gauge, and all the coaches. And I just thought, who's got the space for that kind of thing? It's that would have been bad. I mean, they're 9 feet with 7, 8 coaches in OO gauge. So,
unless you had a TARDIS, it just wouldn't work, would it?
No, it just sounds massive. I think that was a while ago that project got announced, and I haven't heard much about it. Maybe it is still out there, but maybe it just got quite dropped. Anyway,
Google.
So OO gauge is your favourite scale, and we're asking what your favourite things are. What's your favourite loco, or I was going to assume unit, that you own?
Yes, you'd be right in assuming unit. I just deliberate over this question for a little while because I know what it will be. Obviously, at the moment, I'm still working on the two 3-sigs, the Leamington 3-sigs, freshwater Frankfurt 4097, 4098, however you want to call them. I'm working on those. It's sort of been paused at the moment, but I'm going to rejuvenate it at some point. So I suspect once those are finished, it will probably be those. But at present, as they're not finished yet, it's got to be my model of 450-088, which was the first 450 that I repainted into SouthWest Railway blue and grey. And it sticks out to me because it's been to quite a few interesting places, actually. It's run, obviously in and out of my layout, it's run on Greg's layout, Gordon's Lane, at various exhibitions a few times, which is obviously quite a proud moment. And it's also been down to Bournemouth Pavilion with SouthWest Railway and sat on their careers desk for a couple of days. So I think, it's done quite a few different things. So it's probably, at the moment, it's probably that one. Yes,
that's quite nice. That's quite a nice achievement there, isn't it?
I was quite humbled when they asked. What's the message? They said, "Oh, this is fantastic. Would you mind if we borrowed it?" Or borrowed one for a little while, and I said, "Oh yeah, that's brilliant." So I met up with a fella, and he brought it down, and then I've got a picture somewhere of it on the careers desk down at Bournemouth Pavilion, which was quite cool. So we painted that. So, yeah, there you go.
Will you be repainting it into the GBR livery as of next year?
Probably, yeah. I try to keep stuff sort of, I try to keep stuff this present day. So it'd be interesting to see if they do bring out a sort of generalized livery. But yeah, when I put all the stuff back together, I use rocket card glue, I think, to put the windows in, so it holds it firmly. But you could still get them back out to repaint it again if need be. Yeah.
Cool. I look forward to seeing that. Obviously, we have to wait and see if they. I'd imagine there will be some sort of corporate livery coming forward.
I presume. I'm really curious to see it. I hope they get it right.
Yes. I won't say anymore. We'll leave the politics and decision making of liveries there. Cool. So that is your favourite unit. We'll have a gander at the next question and ask you, what's your favourite loco that you don't own? So what's out there or was out there on the real railway that you'd like to see in model form, or something you'd like to purchase?
Again, this is quite a tough question. I've always quite fancied a Class 50 in large logo. They look really cool. I do like a 50. And it's not electric. Before it would have been a 444. 444 in ready to run form would be wonderful. Well, so I've got my two, which I built. I'm doing some more at some point, which hopefully be a little bit better. But I think actually, down not far from here, but across in Exbury Gardens, there's a little narrow gauge steam railway, and there's a locomotive on there, a steam locomotive called Mary Lou. It's a 262 tender loco, which was built by the Exmoor Steam Railway. It's on 12.25-inch gauge. Obviously, I'd need a whole new scale of track to actually run it, but I think to have a little model of the Exbury Gardens narrow gauge would be really cool. So I'd probably have to be that one actually. Model of that in RCR, because it's just wonderful.
That's a cool little shout, isn't it? I like that. Yeah. Just obviously it would be a complete change of track and everything to go with it. But that's a nice little.
Yeah, I've been trying to Google to see if someone's done a model gauge which would bring 12.25 inches in 1:76 scale, but I've not been able to find anything yet. That's pretty niche, I suppose.
Are you looking sort of maybe Z gauge track or something like that to fit with that? Would that sort of go in that area?
Yeah, it'd be around there. It'd be sort of 4 millimeters between the rails when I did the maths on it. So yeah, I'll have to look around. Something to fiddle with. Yeah,
that'd be quite cool to see if he did achieve it. So yeah.
Yes, it would. Yeah, it was on the to-do list, which is growing steadily. I'm going to be about 120 before I get a chance to finish it all, which is a bit of a worry, but there we go.
Well, we're all there with piles of projects. I've only just managed to move the boys' layout out of the garage after it's been blocking up most of the aisle for months. And it's finally at a working state and ready for its scenics. So I was like, right, he can go up in his room now. We can do the scenics up in his room.
Yeah, a bit more sociable up there, not as cold.
So I can move on to the next of my 950,000 projects. My 009 build is that next. But,
you're doing 009 as well. Very good.
I'm doing another 009, so I've got one already, but I'm doing the station next to it. So it's all on my fictional line. So I've done one of the stations, and I'm moving on to the next one. But that's we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. So that's your favourite loco you don't own. What is your favourite project you've undertaken so far?
My favourite project. My favourite project, again, is something I had to deliberate on because I really liked, if you remember last year, I did my first two 444s, and that was a great project. It's a really good learning curve, actually. They're not actually that good, to be honest with you. In terms of the level of work I do now, they're not actually that good. But that was a great project. And then I had to think about the first three 450s that I repainted at the start of this year and the last year, because that started all the commission work and everything. So I owe a lot to that. But actually, it's got to be the layout, Exbury End. I think it's still a burning project. I've not finished the cottages and that, but it's given me something to sort of crack on with over time and get immersed in. And sort of go to town with it. It's only a small layout. It's 7 foot by 1.5 foot. But yeah, I managed to go to town all the trees. As I say, down in the New Forest, I've loaded it up with gorse, trees, heather, and just everything really, everything I can in the space I've got. And it's been a great little project. So little world you get sort of detached from. And yeah, it's come out really good so far. So there's got to be Expiry End as a project.
No, that's fair enough. That's the layout that's on your Instagram. I was just looking through the photos while you were just sort of talking
Yeah,
about
that's it. It's I say I've got the 2 big running loops in the loft, but it's just so cold up there and unpractical. And yeah, I just can't be bothered to go up there most of the time. So yeah, Expiry End is pretty much what I've got at the moment to run stuff in and out of. It's mainly just the 450s, the singles once I've built them. But yeah.
Yeah, it looks good, and it's always nice to have a small project where you can get on with the scenics and practice the scenics, because I think that's sort of sometimes the downfall. And I think me and Sam may have mentioned it on here before, where we breaking things up to try and keep the interest in your modelling, and sometimes just moving away from your larger project to do a little smaller project can sometimes sort of refresh you, can't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I've got I suppose you could break down the layout into a few little projects. And the main stuff now is the building. So I've got the station house, which I managed to put some windows in it a few months ago, but I still need to build the entrance for it. And an interior, so that's one little mini project. And then the cottages, I suppose each one of those could be a little mini project. So what to do, build all the interiors, and then light it up and everything. So that's going to be quite a bit of work. That's another sort of mini project each, I suppose, to work on it. Just keep it manageable, because I'm so often I get in, I look at it, I've got an evening, but I just don't know what to do with it, because there's so many projects, railway stuff, the hovercrafts, model aeroplanes. Where do I start?
We're all there with that one. Yeah, it's I've many a time come into the model room and sat down and gone, right, what I don't know what to do.
You've got all the energy, and then you suddenly sit down, look at it, and go, I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, so I just put YouTube on. That's easier. We'll just watch someone else do some modelling. It'll feel like I've done it.
Yeah, lie in bed so I don't have to do anything. That'll work. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's all been there.
That's the way. Lovely. So that's your favourite project, and it's a very lovely project as well. And as we say, anyone that wants to see it can just go find your layout on your Instagram account and have a look at the photos there. We'll ask you, what is your next hobby purchase?
My next hobby purchase? Yes. So I was originally expecting it to be something for Expiry End, but I've just started planning this little 009 layout. I've got another shelf just underneath Expiry End. It's not quite as wide. It's only, I did measure it, it's about 7 inches, I think. 7 inches wide and 7 foot long. A little 009. It's just going to be a uppy downy thing. But I've bought a Bachmann mainline Hunslet to run on it. I put something on my Instagram story last week. Maybe it's Thursday, and I thought, I bought something. What do you think it is? And a few people said, is it another bogies for 444? So I thought, this is quite good. No one's going to expect it. So my next hobby purchase is actually going to be some 009 gauge wheel sets. So I could build some passenger coaches for it to pull up and down. I've looked through eBay and Amazon and Google, and I can't find any passenger coaches in 009 that I really like. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to build my own ones. So I've got a locomotive, I've got some track, I need some coaches. So we're going to buy some wheel sets. That's going to be the next hobby purchase.
That sounds really interesting. So you're just looking for wheel sets, and you're going to design your own coach.
Yes, that's the plan. Yeah, sort of passenger saloons. I want them to be, based on sort of Expiry Gardens, steam railway type things, with sort of open coaches, to pull along to 3 or 4 of those. And I thought it'd give me something different, something I've never really done before, scratch building narrow gauge coaches. So it's going to be a bit of a learning curve, and I suspect I'll have to buy some spares, because inevitably I'll screw it up somewhere. But it's all a bit of fun. So it's something different as well. I know there's people, like my dad came in and he said, when he first sort of looked at the plan, and he said, why are you building another one? You've not even finished the one above it, looking at the unfinished cottages on the top. But I think it comes back, we did that episode, I think it was the end of October or something, on burnout and that, which was a very good episode, by the way. And I thought, well, I'm getting a little bit bored sometimes with XPN. It's only a small layout. As much as I enjoy doing it, I need something to make it a bit different. So if I give myself another little layout, and it's only a tiny one underneath, just to make something different to work on every now and then, keep my brain occupied, not get too bored. So yeah.
So I have two questions about it. So
Yeah.
First of all, are you looking at scratch building the coaches with plasticard, or are you looking to design them and 3D print them? What's the plan with those coaches?
I suspect I'll go down the plasticard route again. I have got a 3D printer in the house, but it's just packed up a couple of days ago. It's not pulling the filament through it. So my brother does most of it. So he's ordered some spare parts. So I suspect I'll end up 3D printing the bogies a bit. But the actual coach bodies, I reckon I'll be assembling with plasticard and bits like that. I need to explore some designs, to be honest, and come back to you. But it'd be a bit of both, mostly plasticard.
That's cool. The only reason I asked, James is obviously the font of knowledge when it comes to a lot of the 009 stuff, especially for me. I usually go and approach him and go, "What can I do with this?"
Good, somebody I can ask. That's good.
Sorry, James, I've stitched you up there. The other question being, so in terms of like the layout design, is it going to be around and round? I know you said you've only got 7 inches, so I assume it's going to be an end-to-end style layout. Is that right?
A little end-to-end, a little bit like X3 end. It's just an end-to-end. I'd say it's 7 foot long and 7 inches wide. The shelf I've got to put it on. I'm looking at it now. I'll send you some pictures and I'll put some on the Instagram at some point.
Oh, thank you.
So I'd like to do a roundy round somewhere so I can just set the train to go. But I just haven't got the space in this house at the moment. So yeah, I'll do some sort of station and somewhere I can have some operational interest at one end, and then it'll just be an uppy down really. Maybe a
nice.
run around each end, so I can take the locomotive and run it around the coaches at each end. But say there's not loads of space. It's only 7 feet long, slightly less. So, well, we'll have a play around. But if anyone's got any ideas on what to do with it, then send me a message.
I imagine quite a different thing for you as well, because you're used to having the EMUs where they go in and they go out. You don't have to change anything over. So I imagine the looping around will also be a fun thing to have on there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fun thing, something different. As I say, everything I've got has got a cab at each end, so it's like you turn the key off one end, key on the other end, and away you go. So to have just a set of dead rolling coaches and a locomotive to manually put on each end to pull them around will be something different.
Definitely, and with 009 as well, you'll be surprised at how much you can get into that 7 foot space. So,
well, this is actually the thing. Yeah, I need to investigate how tight I can get the corners really and get away with it. I might be able to pull them alongside the desk as well, create something else. But
yeah, I suppose that depends on the length of your coaches you design. But if you design them at the right length, they can be able to go around that, wouldn't they? So that sounds great. It sounds very exciting. And
it is exciting, something different, something very exciting. I was the 450s are in the boxes at the side. I've got one on the layout at the moment. They all thinking, "Oh, you traitor!" Bless. So there we go.
But yeah, no, the theme seems to be 009 for this season. So we're all very, very much.
It is. It's very exciting. 009. I love a bit of narrow gauge stuff. I've always been a bit, a little bit soft on it. So it must be going to XP Gardens over the years. As a little young lad going on the steam train.
Yeah, no, I really liked it. So I went to the Tataclean early in the year, and that rekindled my love for narrow gauge and sort of inspired me to start my next project. But I'm not too far from you in the same that I'm going to look. I couldn't find any suitable cattle wagons that I want mine, so I'm going to be scratch building some cattle wagons. So
that'd be good. We can just share tips and yes, that'd be good.
That's it. Yeah. So yeah. Sounds very cool. So that's a grand next hobby purchase. We look forward to seeing your 009 work. Right then, what is your favourite part of the hobby?
My favourite part of the hobby, the escape. It's got to be the escape. My track record with mental health isn't brilliant, to put it mildly. This hobby's been a huge part of my recovery when I was really unwell, and still to this day, a huge part of my general well-being. Yeah, as time moves on. Because I've struggled in the past. I know I'll struggle again in the future. I've still got a lot of difficult bridges to cross, and my hobbies for me are extremely important. in managing my mental health. So I think, yeah, for me, it's being able to just sort of shut off a bit from the real world. Experience only a small layout, but it's a little world. You can sort of do it how you want it, how you think, not how it is or was, but how you think it should be, how you want it to be. And I think, yeah, for me, that's absolutely invaluable. I can escape. I'm not weird or different or pointed at for whatever reason. You can just immerse yourself in your little world and what's going on in there.
Yeah, no, that's a really nice answer to that. And it's so true. It is, and I think that's why we all do this hobby, isn't it? It's the escapism,
Yeah,
the nostalgia for some. There's so many elements to why we all do model railways, because I think if we surveyed people and asked them, why do you do it? I'm sure, there'd be so many different answers that came back as to what makes them want to do it. But I think that escapism and that for your mental health and well-being and just taking you out of life stresses, although model railways can be quite stressful sometimes when things aren't going right for you.
Yes,
you do question
it all. Yeah.
Why am I doing this? It's just working.
Quite funny. Yes.
Stupid hobby. It's a stupid hobby. I don't know why I do it. I get bullied for it.
Certainly has its moments. Yeah. Although to be fair, people I think, at least at work, and I've talked about it a few times, and people say, "Oh, what do you do in your spare time?" And I'll probably just do a bit of work on the model railway. And then they go, "Oh, but toy trains." And I start showing them pictures and that, and what goes into it. They were like, "Oh, actually, that's really cool." So yeah, I think I had a magazine delivered as well the other day. I don't know, I've lost it somewhere. I had another bit of Rod Stewart, and he said it was the coolest hobby in the world or something similar. And he said, we used to shy away from it back when he was younger, but now he's really proud of it. And I thought, yeah, there are. That's really good. Yeah, that's really good because people can still sort of appear a bit normal. I'd like to hope that I'm anything but normal, but I'd like to think, work and dealing with the public and that, on the aeroplanes at least, I appear pretty down to earth. But I can come home and get out with the model railway and sort of play trains for a bit. Really, you go to town on the detail and creating little worlds, little scenes, and also I need a TARDIS somewhere in the layout. A little 176 Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman to sit next to it, and you do little cameos, and it'd be a bit of a laugh, really.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about the hobby, isn't it? It's I think there was someone on YouTube the other day was trying to say, look, it's not just for kids. I think it was like the model railways are cool or something like that. I think the video was called. And it was that argument that when people are becoming, I think, more open about it, and definitely since COVID, it has become a more popular hobby. I think media. The biggest problem is always the stigmatism of media, isn't it? And how they perceive it. And for a very long time, there's always those stereotypical weirdo characters that like model trains. I always felt they were a bit harsh and Roy in Coronation Street and how they treated him and his love of trains. But even that, when I do watch it, I don't watch it out of choice. I'll put it that way. But when I do feel that the character is treated with a bit more sympathy towards his hobby. And like you say, Rod Stewart, he now proudly shows off his model railways. Pete Waterman does TV shows and goes to these other celebrities who are quite proud to show the model railways. Jules Holland is proud to show it off, and it's not playing with toy trains like it once upon a time was. It was that train set on the carpet, wasn't it, and just running it around, and it was something the kids could play with. This is and I think it was what was said in the video, this is an art form, this is a form of art, because
100%.
they said if you just took the train away, took the track away, and you just built that scenery, people would be amazed at how wonderful.
They suddenly wouldn't laugh at it, which is funny. It's like, what about a vehicle on rails suddenly makes it uncool, or you're suddenly autistic or whatever people want to say, and it's incredibly sad. That's there does seem to be the stigmatism around it, if that's the right word.
But like you say, it's definitely a great one for the mental health. And if no one has seen it yet, I really recommend. And it's more for if someone questions the hobby, point them in the direction of this YouTube video. I'll get it for the end of the show and just make sure I've got the right name. I think it's called the Dollhouse. But she has an interview with Tony Wright,
Oh, okay.
and the love of model railways, I think something like that. I'll find it out and put it at the end of the show.
Yeah.
It was on Instagram as well. I think I put it up in one of my stories, but it was a really, really good video, and Tony explained so well as to why this hobby was so interesting and so fascinating for so many different reasons. Trains, it was. I thought it was really well presented and a real good argument for people to look at the hobby and go, do you know what? I wouldn't mind getting into that. So yeah, no, I think your answer there is such a great answer to say that it is one for that escapism and helping your mental health. And it would be nice for more and more people to come into this hobby, realizing that and realizing that this is a great world, and also the skills you learn from doing model railways.
Incredible.
Woodwork and electronics and all those other bits. You pick up so much in this hobby.
So many transferable skills. So many transferable skills. People don't appreciate it, don't realise it. They're too narrow-minded. Some people say I'm a cynic. Well, so it's just a side effect of working with the public. But yeah, I do like people. I am a people person. I need a T-shirt that says I am a people person. I'm just not a stupid people person. But no, it's brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Just to chime in, so the account that James is referring to is called real_vintage_dolls houses. And I agree. James sent me the whole video because they did the whole if Gen Z wrote the script with Tony Wright, and it was fantastic. I thought it was so well done. But yeah, their video on what makes model railways great. And I think what's really lovely is the interview that she does with Tony Wright is just really eye-opening and fascinating to sort of see. Like, I've always admired Tony's amazing detail for work, but like also just sort of getting that to have that, they're having that really real conversation with him about why they do it. And I think if you haven't, go check it out. But yeah, sorry, that's me interrupting.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, I need to go and watch that. I think, it's a massive coping mechanism, I suppose, distraction. Because I know there's a lot of other people out there, so I don't want to make this too deep or too soft or anything for this episode, at least. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there who, have been struggling or are struggling, and they'll be sat in their rooms right now looking at the floor, and they'll be very, very unhappy. And having been there, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. And the model railways for me has been huge, especially given I wasn't in a great place going into COVID, and the world fell over and everything I've sort of had plans for all drifted apart. That was it. I had some very long dark nights, and it was only deciding to let's get out the old model railway again and try and build something more permanent in the loft, and that was a huge part of getting me through it, the distraction. And I just carried it on now, and it's you develop so many transferable skills out of it, and it's just awesome. Yeah, it's just great. Not ashamed to say it. The model railways are cool.
Damn straight they are. Damn straight. That I really really like that answer, and thank you very much for saying that and bringing up a real brilliant topic to discuss. Appreciate that. So that's your favourite part of the hobby. If you were to create a new layout, which we know you are, which is the one thing you need on it? So what's the one thing you're going to need? I suppose we could say if you were going to recreate one of your 00 gauge as well. What are you thinking?
So I've toyed a bit with a plan. Once I've got a bigger house or more permanent house, so to speak, on my own, I will be building a bigger 00 layout with a bit of mainline on it. I'd like to integrate Exbury End into it, sort of at the bottom of the branch line. But to answer this question concisely, there's one thing that I would like on it, and that is a complete scale replica of Brockenhurst railway station.
Yes, I know that name of that station. I'm gonna have to Google it now just to.
Oh, what do you mean you have to Google it? Brockenhurst. It's I say it's not actually the capital of the New Forest. That's Lyndhurst, but Brockenhurst has got the railway station. Yeah.
It's effectively the exchange, isn't it? It's the exchange between the main line and then the branch line. Yeah, that goes down to Lymington. Yeah. It was the last place in the UK to run the slam doors.
It was, and it was also the last place in the UK to run a steam engine, I believe.
Oh wow! Okay.
So all the last, basically the Lymington branch gets the last of it, but in a lot of cases, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, so up until the 22nd of May 2010, there was the slam doors on the Lymington branch. And yeah, they go from platform 4 in Brockenhurst down to Lymington here, calling it Lymington Town. And they're even talking about, or they were talking about at one point, opening up Empress Works Halt, which is in between Brockenhurst and Lymington Town on the branch, just on the north side of Lymington. But yeah, Brockenhurst, the debate I have is what era, because back when the slam doors were on the branch, the track in platform 4, well, the whole station was very different back then. Didn't have the new footbridge, the canopies hadn't been refurbed. Neither had any of the waiting rooms or the toilets, and the track through platform 4 was still really old, wooden sleepers, all overgrown, and it was rickety, and it was great. You'd go along on the old slam doors, you clickety clack of all of that under the wheels. So it'd be whether to represent it like that, put the slam doors in it, or whether to do it sort of modern day. It all got relayed a few years ago now. It must have been maybe 2019, 2018 or something like that. But they relayed all the track through platform 4, and now it's all nice and smooth and pristine.
Yeah, no,
it'd be whether to do, old or present day, with a new footbridge again, if I was going to do it present day.
Yeah, that's quite cool. Yeah, I've just looked at photos of it, and yeah, you can see the bit of differences from the steam days right up to modern day, and the changing of track and that, and there's quite a bit of Banbury-esque about it when I was looking at one of the photos with the overbridge. That sort of felt that bit like Banbury, like looking at it that way. But yeah, I can see why you'd why that would be a nice centerpiece for your layout.
Yeah, it's my railway home, I suppose. Well, we had a house in Pennington down in Lymington, which is why we ended up going up and down the Lymington branch. But yeah, we spent a lot of time at Brockenhurst at the station. We were watching the trains come through, 442s, 444s, 450s, obviously the slam doors, and the Voyagers as well. So yeah, that's definitely, it's everything I think a railway should be. It's nice, but it's also cool. It's industrial enough. You've got the depot just south, just on the down line, on the south side. You've got the depot, Brockenhurst depot. So there's certainly some interesting stuff there, and the level crossing at the other end. So. Yeah. And a fantastic pizza restaurant called Enzi as well. If you're ever in Brockenhurst, or if you ever go to the New Forest, full stop, go to Enzi at Brockenhurst Station on the north side. Fantastic food, and the guys are great. Yeah, so a little shout out for them because they are awesome. Thoroughly recommend.
There we are, Enzi. That's the place to eat when you're in the New Forest.
Yes.
Hopefully they're sending us a free pizza now for that.
Fingers crossed.
Might be cold by the time it's my house, but
yes, a bit far away. Yeah.
Wait and see.
But yeah, so a model of Brockenhurst, sort of the platforms being the same length and everything as they are, not having to compromise or shorten it. But yeah, model of Brockenhurst. That would be my must.
Sounds very good. Sounds very good indeed. Again, another project to look forward to in the future. I can see what you mean. You've got your list of projects that you're doing.
Well, this is just the model railway list. It's like there's other stuff as well. And I've got the hovercrafts going on. Actually, I was going to speak to Lyndon about that. I had a poke from him this morning, actually. So yes, hello, Lyndon. I'm trying to catch up with him at some point, but it's a bit difficult trying to get our work schedules to match up. But we'll get there.
Fair He's enough. Unfortunately everywhere, that man. Even we didn't even bring him up in this episode, but he literally comes up in every single episode, and this time it wasn't even our fault.
I'll take full responsibility.
I think he's probably done 5 weeks of being mentioned now. Of course, next week he will actually be on the show.
Ooh.
More about that later in the show. Whilst we're here, we're going to continue talking to you about what you like in the hobby. So Brockenhurst Station, that's your need for your next layout. So you do a lot of repainting stuff and that as well. We'll ask you, what is the one hobby item you'd encourage everyone to buy? Is it going to be something paint related, or have you got another secret tool that you want to share with the world?
I've got plenty of tools. As I say, I do a lot of repaints. I would say an airbrush, but obviously it's been said before. So try and do something different. I'm actually going to say a set of really fine paintbrushes, specifically really fine, tiny ones. They are extremely useful for lots of different stuff, with both repainting and doing weathering. I like them because you can do from a repainting point of view. When you finish with the airbrush and you pull your masking tape off, and there's always a bit of paint that's got somewhere you don't want it to or anything. But little bits you need to touch up, and the only way you can really do that accurately is with an extremely fine paintbrush. So good for that. Next, weathering. You get all the different streaks and stuff. I'm finding, certainly in the winter, where you get dirt and stuff on the roofs of units and in the crevices underneath the windows. And as you go along, as the train's travelling along, and you've got water going past, and it's picking up the dirt and then going down the side of the coach, at different angles as you go, and you get these sort of streak marks. They got on the 450, for example. I've got one in front of me, so I sort of visualise what I'm saying. So underneath the windows, you get sort of streaks of muddy water going down, but also out to the side. So it's weathering both from when the train's at standstill and when the train is moving. And you get that, corners of windows, doors, around the air conditioning unit at the top, around the pantograph well as well, and all different bits like that. And then where the trains get chemically cleaned, you get little streaking marks, which can actually be slightly sort of grey whitey in colour as well with the chemicals they use, sort of dripping down just the top of the underframe and onto the top of the bogies as well. And this is something I'm going to be doing on my units as and when I find the time amongst the other 10,000 projects. But as and when I do, I'll put some photos on. But all of this tiny little detailing, you can do with a really fine set of paintbrushes, as well as drawing the little jellyfish and that inside, where you just end up a cocktail stick or something for that. But yeah, you can probably go to town doing, agitating dirt, smearing it. All those little details you wouldn't really notice otherwise. You can do it with a really fine set of paintbrushes. So if you want to go to the next detail stage, and you'll even be able to do this in N gauge, I should think, a really fine set of paintbrushes.
That's a very good shout. Yeah, fine set of paintbrushes. Do you go any particular brand, or is there anyone that you go to for your fine brushes? I've found some brands are horrendous. My dad got me a set from Amazon. I have no idea who made them or where he got them from. I've never found them again since, and unfortunately they've now all died. But they were very good set of brushes. So, who do you go with?
Not a particular brand or anything. I mean, to be honest, I don't really. I can't really recommend a specific brand. I've had a few from different places. My cousin's an art teacher, so she's always got a good supply. So I quite often go to her and say, "Oh, have you got anything that'd be good for this?" And she recommends a few. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. I'd have to try and find out. Any reasonably priced fine paintbrushes will do. So you don't go really cheap, but don't go really expensive either. It's not worth it.
Yeah,
somewhere in the middle, like
any really cheap ones you have gone for that have ever been a disaster for you or anything like that, or have you always just been quite lucky with the paintbrush?
I've been lucky enough with paintbrushes, remarkably, because I'm a bit of an attraction for Sod's Law. I've got away with paintbrushes. Yeah.
Fair enough. So there you have one. That's the recommendation for this week. Get yourself some nice, fine paintbrushes.
Indeed.
Right then. Now we have met before because I met you at the Demu exhibition earlier this year. So is that your favourite exhibition, or do you have a different one?
It probably is. Yeah, it probably is. I don't do loads of exhibitions, just because logistically and with my work, I quite often end up working weekends, so it's a little bit tricky. But yeah, I do enjoy the DMU showcase. It's a nice location. It's a nice venue. Even the location's too far north, but yeah, the venue itself is really nice. It's a great little town hall, Sutton Coldfield. It's never too busy. It's never too quiet. You always get a good range of layouts that I'm interested in, because they're not all 1950s steam. No offense to anyone who likes that. So I look at it and say, it's quite nice. Let's go and see some units now, some more modern day stuff. But the diesel electric showcase, you get some interesting stuff and a lot more sort of present day stuff, which a lot of people like to be able to relate to these days. So yeah, I think my favourite exhibition probably is the DV showcase. There's lots of good ones around, but yeah.
It's a good show. I like you say, it gets a bit boring, the 1950s layout. It reminds me, I think it was on my channel, possibly someone else's, but someone had commented, it's a bit boring, there's no steam engines. It's just like,
Oh, there you are.
The title is called Diesel and Electric Showcase. But
yeah, probably why I like it. Yes, quite funny. Yeah, bless. All about what you're interested in. Yeah,
that's your favourite exhibition. Do you have a favourite layout? And when we usually ask this, what's your favourite exhibition? What's your favourite layout? But sometimes it can be a layout that's in someone else's house, or it could be something you've seen in a magazine. Is there something out there that's an inspiration to you?
Yeah, there's plenty of different inspiration. I think, yeah, if I had to choose a favourite layout, I mean, there's so many good ones out there. And it's when I can, I help out the Beckham and West Wickham guys, Greg Marshall and that Ebsworth Street. His layout, Gordon's Lane, is the one that he's let me run my 450s on a few times now. And it's a great layout, and he lets me run my trains on it. So I'd say probably Gordon's Lane at the moment. You got all the signalling and track detection and all of that running under it, and it's great, and they're a great group of guys. And say Greg's wonderful, and he's helped me out with quite a lot of stuff in the past. So yeah, I think probably that, if I had to pick one off the top of my head. But yeah, there's loads of great layouts, and there's some good ones on YouTube as well.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's a good shout. And obviously, anyone who's just come to the podcast and doesn't know who Greg is, you can go back a couple of weeks, and Greg was one of our guests earlier in the season, so you can learn a little bit more about Greg as well. Right, and Max, there's only one more question we've got left to ask you, but just like to say, it's been an absolute delight talking to you. Really appreciate you giving up your time and coming on the show. So we always like to ask this one as the last one, is what's your favourite resource? And it used to be what was your favourite YouTube or Instagram, but so many people come up with so many great answers. What have you got for us?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I was very flattered to be asked. That must mean I'm remotely interesting, which is interesting in itself. My favourite resource, I don't want to complicate the question any further, but it depends what it's really. For how to build what I want to build, or if I need specific information on the area I'm going, my favourite resource is The Real Thing. So I'll either get in the van and drive around a railway somewhere, go and stand on a bridge and look down, get on a train, have a ride, try and get some close-up references and all of that. For modelling, when I'm looking for inspiration, it quite often comes from everywhere. If I go out for a walk, for example, or a bike ride, I'll jump out on the e-bike quite often, and I'll go out and I'll see something either on a track, a walking track or a cycling track somewhere, and I think, oh, actually, I could almost envision this being a railway line scene, and I'll take pictures of it and add it to my album of growing stack of photographs of things that would be quite cool to make into a model railway scene. So I like doing that. If I need a bit of egging on from fellow people, then I'll usually go onto Instagram. I don't watch much YouTube. Occasionally I do, and I quite enjoyed Everard Junction's stuff. So that level of modelling was pretty awesome. I've got lots of handy tips from him. But yeah, I think I quite like going onto Instagram, seeing what other people are doing in their little worlds and their little railways. So yeah, it depends what it's for. But I like going and seeing The Real Thing. I like just going out for a walk and seeing stuff in nature and that. And I think, oh, actually, this could make a cool model railway scene. Going if I need more, if I need to get back into my modelling mojo. If I've been on a bit of burnout, having a break for a while, it's go onto Instagram and see what other people are up to. Yes.
That's fair enough. No, I like that. I do the same as well. Sometimes you say you just take a photo of something, and go, I could just imagine a train running through there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really pleased you understand. It doesn't sound completely mad. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've done that. There's a few. I go back from a camera roll sometimes and go, why have I taken a photo of that? Oh yeah, that was
yeah. I've got an album and it's got like 1,200 photos or something in it, so I'm never going to get around them all. But yeah, some of the good ones, and I think, that'd be really cool to make in model form, make into a model railway. It's even worse now. I've got the 009 stuff. So it's like, this could be a 009, this could be North. So it's like, yeah.
You take a trip to North Wales, that's it, you're screwed.
Yeah, and I would like to get to North Wales in the camper actually, because I want to go in August to see the Perseid meteor shower at peaks around 20th, 21st of August. And so I'd like to do, sort of 4 days in the camper over there, do some narrow gauge stuff, also see the scenery and get a good dark sky night areas to get a proper look at the meteor shower.
That sounds very cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a cool plan. Lovely. I think that ties us up for our interview with you, Max. And I say thank you very much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I know you took a little dig at yourself and said I must mildly interesting, but it was absolutely fantastic to talk to you, and it was really interesting. So thank you very much. Me and Sam are going to take a short break, and we're going to come back after this. Hello there, dear listener. We thought we'd just take a moment to talk to you about our Patreon. For the last few weeks, Sam has been putting out an advert impersonating David Attenborough, trying to entice you to give us your money. And you were right not to do it. But now we ask you from the bottom of our hearts to follow us on Patreon.
If you do want to support us in what we do, and you believe that what we do is good enough that you want a part of your money, you can find us on Patreon, and you can start donating for as little as $1 a month. It's in dollars, it's in freedom credits, however you want to say it, but eventually it will just take the pounds from your bank account. And if you do want to support James and myself, head on over to Patreon. There's varying levels and tiers that you can do, and there's even a tier where I'll weather stuff for you and James gets the benefit of it. So why not support us on Patreon today?
Indeed. And that way we can get a new microphone so you can stop complaining that you can't hear us. All right, we're back then, and that was a lovely chat with Max from SouthWest. SouthWest? He's on the West Express. SouthWest Max. Right then, we'll move on to the exhibition calendar, and this is the penultimate show of the season. Next week is a bit of a special, so things are going to be a little bit different. So to cover December, I'm just going to go through the exhibition diary all the way up to the end of the year. So starting on the 21st, this coming weekend, is the East Kent Model Railway Society at Whitstable in their Herne Bay Model Railway exhibition. This is at the Herne Centre in School Lane, Herne, Kent. So I don't know if it's Herne or Herne. One or the other. You live in Kent, you'll know how it sounds. There's going to be 15 exhibits there, plus trade support. Light refreshments will also be on sale. So, yeah, it's pay and display parking, just to make you aware of that one, and the outside venues. On Saturday the 28th, the Engage Society of the North Wales Area Group will be having their Christmas New Year exhibition at St Mary's Church Hall in Rosehill Street in Conway. So that's a nice little one to get to there if you're in the North Wales area. Also on Saturday the 28th is West Camel Model Railway Society, their Christmas exhibition. This is at the Davis Hall in Hallow Hill in West Camel in Yeovil, Somerset. And on the 28th and 29th is the Gainsborough Model Railway Society December Open Days. So the Gainsborough Model Railway in Florence Terrace in Gainsborough, Lincolnshire. It's an O-gauge layout, loosely based on the LNER London to Leeds Central. Oh, this is that massive one. It's a really good one. If you look for it on YouTube, really great layout. One of the largest O-gauge model railways in the country. So yeah, if you're in the area, that'd be nice little day out to go visit that. And also of the weekend of the 28th and the 29th, this is the Mid-Kent group of Maidstone and Mid-Kent Model Railway Exhibition, and it's Lock Meadow Market Hall and Baker Road, Maidstone, Kent. And that is all the exhibitions for the year. Right then, Sam, social media shout-outs?
Yes. So my social media shout out for this week is DJ's Trains. That's spelt DJS Trains. Now, this is a cool little channel that they do some model railroading, but they also do a lot of drone footage of real railways in America and talk about like different ideas and that, and how the one that I watched was all about how there's 3 businesses in a very tight area that have utilized the railway you have the two main lines going to it, and then they utilize a crossover to try and save some space, so that they can have tankers going to two of the units and one going to the other. It's really cool seeing it from a bird's eye view with a drone. Now, it's not a small channel. They have 64,000 subscribers, but that is DJ's Trains. And if you ever want just to see trains from above, we don't really get to see that often. It's a good channel to watch.
There we are. Very cool. DJ's Trains. I am going for Dudley Central, which is on YouTube and can also be found on Instagram and Facebook as well. Has 2.47 thousand subscribers. There's 144 videos to watch. And Dudley Central is a fictional 90s and 90s and noughties, should I say, 00 gauge model railway layout set in the West Midlands. And the channel has featuring regular updates. So yeah, it's a great little channel. Lots going on. I think this is the second incarnation of Dudley Central, if I recall. There was an earlier project. I think they moved house and then have started something new. But yeah, it's a great channel. I follow them on Instagram as well. Always quite interesting to keep up on this one. So that's Dudley Central. Right then, so before we do our own social media shout outs, I suppose it's best to tell you that next week is our Christmas special or Quizmas special. Got lots of special guests. There's lots to listen to and even watch if you're willing to donate to our chosen charity, which is the All Aboard Club. And we'll be talking more about that next week. So that's next week's episode. And then that will be the final one for season 2. So we won't be back until the new year. I think our first episode we're planning to do is the 13th of January, because the 6th of January is asking a bit too much of us. It is the Christmas holidays. We'd have to record during then. So, you can wait a week. But apart from that, that's pretty much wrapping up season 2. So yeah, we'll be back for season 3 in the new year.
I did remember something we were going to talk about, and I completely forgot until just then. Thank you to everyone who listens to us on Spotify. Well, anyone who listens to us on anything. However, Spotify Wrapped, if you're not a Spotify person, is basically a thing that comes out every single year, and it gives you your top listen to music for the year, your genres, and all this sort of stuff. But it also does your podcasts and your audiobooks. And there were quite a few people who we appeared as their top podcast and even in their top 5, which is also amazing, listen to throughout the year. So anybody who does listen to us, it's just once again a massive thank you. And at some point in the year, James and I managed to get into the top 30 in the UK of podcasts, full stop. Not just in a niche genre, we got into the top 30 in the UK on Spotify for the Model Rail Replacement podcast. And I completely forgot to mention it in the intro, and I wanted to mention it now and say thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, especially against the top 30. That's up against the likes of sports podcasts and comedians and all that sort. So yeah, we're feeling very much like royalty. So yeah. A big thank you to everyone, especially for getting us as high as 27. I think Tom from Boggles Kelly suggested that, if you can, chaps, see if you can get us a Christmas number 1, because his theory was not many people would listen to podcasts over Christmas. So if we all listen to the Model Rail Replacement podcast, it could hit Christmas number 1. So there's the aim. There's the goal. Spread the word. The Christmas episode is next week. Let's try and get Christmas number 1, shall we? Yeah, we can all do it together. We can then say, we did that.
Do you know what people need to do? They need to go back to episode 0 and then just build a playlist of all of the podcasts. Even if you're not at your own house on Christmas Day, you leave I'm not going to say the word because it will start everybody's device going off in their houses.
Alexa, play Model Rail Replacement podcast.
If you just leave it playing, our entire playlist, as much as possible. You leave the house. I don't care. I just want. I need that validation. We
just put it on mute. He doesn't know it's on mute. We've gone off on a tangent.
Not like us.
Because all we were supposed to do was, we'll be honest, we ran out of time. Sam jumped in with his thank you for listening to the podcast, which then ate into the time because we thought we could do it in the 7 minutes we had left, which meant we had to start a new call. And now, because we started a new call, we feel like we've got all the time in the world to talk.
Behind the scenes.
The end's going to feel very strange because it's going to feel very rushed. Like we're just trying to fire those dates out, and then talk about social media shout outs. And then Sam very quickly dives in there and thanks you. And then all of a sudden it all goes chilled again, and they just start rambling. And that's the joy in the work there. You'll see.
That's it. My
That's what's
my
happened there.
beautiful creation of making everything seem seamless because no one's ever picked up on it ever. That's a lie. Now completely ruined because everyone will know the cadence of the episodes now. So yeah,
But then this is something. The flow just isn't going to work.
it's going to sound so weird to all of you. I'm really sorry, but it's almost Christmas. I'm currently 90% celebrations. So
yeah, as I said, it's end of season for us anyway. Next week's the Christmas special, which doesn't ever get counted as a season. So I suppose today's the season finale, really.
Oh no, because then I've got to finish off the story arc. I've got to work out that actually I can't give that away. I was about to give away something then. I might have to add it in at the end of next season, like the usual cliffhanger you get at the end of season 2. Because season 1, they're very much of we'll leave a small cliffhanger, but we don't know if we're going to get another season. Season 2 is usually the one where they get picked up properly and they go, right, next season we're going to have loads of budget, so we know we're coming back. We can leave all these loose ends. So yeah, I'm going to leave all these loose ends ready for the beginning of season 3.
Yeah, season 3 should be on a bigger budget because we've got 5 patrons at the moment.
That's true. We do have 5 patrons.
Yeah, so yeah,
as of this exact moment, we have 5 patrons.
there you go. So yeah, if you want bigger, and louder and more model railway things, and not just
if you want
in the Miniature Wonderland.
if you want someone else to do the adverts, because here's the thing, guys. After this season, he's coming back. You all know who I'm talking about. The Boogeyman. That guy. He's coming back. You had December without him. You had a chance to make a change in this world so that we could afford actually good voice actors to do our adverts. I don't know what you're saying, but you don't need adverts. You've put them in for your own inflamed ego. And you know what? Yeah, I've got a family to feed.
You can talk for yourself. John Lewis already contacted me about the Christmas advert. I've got work next year. This has just gone silly. Right, Sam, media shout outs.
If you want to find me, you can get hold of me on Instagram at emperors_path. And if you want to find me in video form, you can find me on YouTube at Emperor's Path. James, how can they get hold of you?
Never know, they might find a 009 video by you on there as well. Yeah, so if you want to contact me, I am Western Signalman at YouTube and on the Instagram, westernsignalmanoutlook.com for the email. And we are also on Instagram as the Model Rail Replacement Podcast. And that's where we need you. Because firstly, when you get up to 1,000 followers on there, we're going to be giving away a t-shirt. But also, when we come back next season, we want to start with a little bit of good old wish listing, as it is the season for wish listing. So, yeah, keep an eye on Instagram as we'll be asking you for your ideas, what you'd like to see, what you think certain companies may make. If you don't use Instagram, but you still want to send us your ideas, then why not email us at modelrailrp, that's modelrailrp at outlook.com. And you can send us your ideas of what you think the companies will be producing next year. So obviously we start with you, the usual Hornby January announcements. I've been seeing adverts for their catalogue, so there must be some new products coming. Give us your ideas and we'll have a little chat about that, and we'll put our own ideas in there and our own wish listing of what we'd like to see. But that's all for now. This pretty much ties up season 2. As I say, next week will be our Christmas special. Please do join us for that. And all I can say is that hopefully we've been entertaining, informative, and have replaced your model railway, if only just for a little bit. I've been James, and with me has been Sam. Thanks for listening.
Snow is falling all around me.
This service terminates here. Please ensure you take all of your personal belongings with you.